I got a few questions. Questions. Where do you get your protein from? Isn't it expensive to be vegan? Questions. I got a few questions. Haven't we evolved to eat meat? It's natural. I got a few questions.
Shh. Thank you guys for joining me on another episode. My name is Manny, and I'm your host. So today I want to make this one pretty quick. We talk about frustration, we talk about failure, success. We talk about all the things that bother us in the world. And as if somehow we're supposed to experience success without failure. We're supposed to experience anger without love without hate, and so on, light without dark. Here's the deal. It's not about whether you fail or not, because you're going to fail. Yeah, life is definitely going to toss you some failures. It's not about whether you fail or not. It's not about whether you get frustrated or not, because you're going to get frustrated. It's not about whether you get angry or not, because you're going to get angry. You're going to get frustrated, and you're going to fail. That's part of the story. That's part of the journey. What it's really about is what you do next. What do you do in the middle of your failures? What do you do in the middle of your frustration? What do you do when you have nothing left? When you feel like you're at your bottom, you are empty. Because guess what? Life doesn't care whether you feel empty. It's still going to push at you. It's going to throw something else at you. It's what you do in those moments that determine your next step, that determine the outcome. Here's the deal. We're all taught that failure is part of the process, that failure is part of the success that you're going to eventually achieve. But nobody tells you to welcome failure. No one tells you to look at failure in the eye and say, thank you for showing up because you're part of this method. You are part of all of it. And here's the deal. Life goes in ups and down loops. And in your downs, in your lowest, you have to find your highs. And I don't mean to discount your emotions and your feelings and your frustrations. What I do mean is to accept it truly and completely, that the failure, that low part, that is part of who you are. That is part of your method. That is part of your success. Because what you do is you move forward with that mentality and you start to welcome failure. You ask failure, come at me, because I want to show you who I am, and I want you to show me who I am. And what it does, it proves you time and time again that you are limitless, that you can succeed at anything as long as your perspective is in the right place. But if every time you fail, all you think about is what you are, and all you think you are is a failure, that's all you're going to perceive yourself to be. That's all you're going to feel that you are. So when you're walking across the street and you really had to get across the street and you miss that light, don't look at the world and say, why is the world coming at me? Look at the fact that that light stopped you from going so you don't get run over by a car. That light stopped you so someone else can have a chance, because your chance is coming. That is part of the process. It is a very weak analogy, but it helps you understand the capacity of the need to take a moment and say, I can't experience this success without this failure. And I want you to really feel it, because we live in a world of polarity. And that basically means you cannot have happiness without sadness. They are interconnected. And if you deny sadness, it is going to be impossible for you to see happiness. If you deny failure, it is going to be impossible for you to see its opposite. The same thing goes for wealth and poverty. If you deny poverty, you would deny the existence, you deny your capacity to be in a state of poverty, you're not going to be able to witness success. You're not going to be able to witness abundance the way you need to witness it, where it sticks and it stays with you. You're going to witness that with so much effort, and you're never going to stop fighting. So all I can give to you today is just some perspective. And that goes for me as well. That goes for all of us, because we're always in a state of failing and we're always in a state of succeeding. We're always frustrated and we're always happy. We always feel like everything is just working out, and then we feel like everything is against us. That's just the way life works. And it isn't to say you got to be a pessimist It's actually teaching you to be an optimist. It's teaching you to look at the brighter side of a darker situation. Traditionally, your failures are actually part of your success. And the faster you can get to that conclusion, and the faster you can accept that as reality, the faster you can see success. And you can bathe in it. You can live in it. Because every day would be successful to you. Because even your failures are your success. And then your successes, what? Those right there, you get to feel those at its full capacity. You get to really live in those moments. As opposed to the moment you succeed, you're ready to succeed again. Take a moment. Enjoy your success. But you can't do that because you're too busy running from your failures. You're too busy running from your frustrations. You're too busy running from your hate inside you. You need to embrace all aspects of yourself, internally and externally. Because the world is just a mirror of who you are on the inside. And the quicker you can get to the idea that we live in a world of polarity, that everything has its opposite, happy and sad, rich and poverty, success and failure, the faster you can get there, you can actually fall in love with both parts, both components, and know that without this one, you can't have the other. So when you deny one part, you deny the other part. Very simply, if you deny failure, you deny success. And you are limitless. And you deserve better. You deserve more. We all do. So anytime you feel like you are just continuously failing, I want you to look at failure and I want you to find the lesson within it. And you really need to find that lesson for you. The lesson that works for you, that resonates with your heart, that resonates with who you are and your mission in life. Because you know what your mission is. Only you know what your mission is. People like me, I can only help you and I can only guide you, but I cannot uncover it. That is your job. That is your choice. You get to choose whether you want to complete your mission or not. And that's the beauty about being human. You can decide whether to just be here or you can decide whether to achieve the things you were meant to be here and do. And on that note, I want to end this with saying, simply, anytime you're getting stuck in a frustrated situation, you just can't get out, and you're making the idea of being frustrated an enemy. I want you to look at frustration and make it part of who you are. Just look at it and say, without you, I won't be able to see X, Y, Z. Because if you notice frustration, that means that you know what you're capable of beyond frustration. And I want you to know that you can't see what you're capable of without that frustration. And it is a blessing in disguise. And it is very simple, very simple. You cannot see the beauty of the stars in the sky without the darkness around it, behind it, inside it. It is part of the story. And I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times, but you cannot hear it enough. You are enough. Who you are is enough. You came here enough. Everything else is extra. It is an experience. It is a journey. It is your mission. It is what you choose to do with it. And if you choose to do nothing with it, that is your choice, and you need to own it. But if you choose to fulfill your destiny, your desires, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, again, that is your choice. But there will be moments where you will experience failure, and it is part of it. And here's the deal. It's not really you that's experiencing it. It's the experience itself that's experiencing failure. And it's actually your perspective on the experience itself that's appearing to be in a state of failure. Because the experience knows it needs to experience both the highs and the lows to get where it has to go. Because it inside of itself, it encompasses both the negative and the positives. But when you observe it and you're just seeing the negatives, you are putting a label on it. You are calling it a failure. You are calling it a success. But it knows it has to experience both. It has to encompass both. It can't have one without the other. So just remember, when you're in a state of failure and you feel like you just can't succeed, I want you to do one thing. I want you to take yourself out of that situation. I want you to know that you're not a failure. You're just experiencing a failure. You're just experiencing the moment. You're just experiencing what it means to fail. And then once you remove yourself from it, once you truly have disidentified with being a failure, because that is not who you are. You are limitless. Like I said, you came in here complete. You came in here ready. Who you are is enough. When you start from the basis that I'm enough, everything else becomes fun. And that's beautiful. And once you've disassociated from that state of failure, I want you to look at that state of failure and say, you know what? Without that failure, I can't even see that success. I can't even see that. Meaning I can't even see the stars without the darkness. So the darkness is the failure and the stars are your success. How are you going to see it? If the entire sky is bright, you wouldn't see anything. You wouldn't even appreciate it. You wouldn't even appreciate the beauty of the stars without the darkness behind it. You won't even appreciate your success without the failures. So I don't want you to look at failures and success as negative and positive. Look at them as they need to happen. They are one and the same. They are connected. It's all about your perspective on the situation. Period. So again, if you ever find yourself stuck in a loop and find yourself constantly being in a state of failure, I want you to first remove yourself from that identity because you are not a failure. The circumstance itself is appearing to be in a state of failure, but it is not. You are not a failure. You are not that. You are the one that is observing it. Okay? And then once you come to that realization that that is not who you are, and then what I want you to do is recognize that the failure comes with the success, and they're both actually good. They're both good components of this. And again, we are all going through it on some level. You will find somebody who glorifies their success, and that is primarily because there's a part of their life that they feel like failures. So they have to exacerbate something. That is just who we are as humans. That's what we do. We want to show our best foot, and there's nothing wrong with that. We want to put it forward. But here's the deal. When we don't show our failures, we assume we're the only ones going through it. And we have to be more vulnerable to realize that just because you fail at something, that does not make you who you are. That is just an experience. And you move past it, through it, and you flush it, and you move on. Because if you stay dwelling in that moment, that sense of failure is going to own you. You're going to become so identified with it, it is going to be nearly impossible for you to see your own success. And just like the reference with the stars, without the darkness, you cannot see the stars. Without failure, you cannot see your success. So you have to experience failure in order to experience and actually appreciate success. So like I said before, you need to thank failure from coming into your life, because that gives you the motivation to move into a different direction. But you have to move into that direction with accepting the failure, accepting it for what it is, because connected to that failure is your success, is success in general. And most of us, we want to run so fast towards our success. We want to create these goals. We're like obsessed with creating goals. But let me tell you something. If you create goals from a place of lack, in a place of fear and worry and concern and non-acceptance from where you are, you're just going to end up right back where you started. You're going to achieve that goal and feel empty inside and feel like I got to do it again. But if you start your life from accepting that failure is part of the component, and you become a friend of failure, you become a friend of all these negative words in your life, you'll realize that you're always succeeding. You're succeeding every day. And your actual goals are just one in another long list of successes in your life. And that goes for every component. Any place that you feel you have a hang up in your life and you feel you're trying to run from it, you need to sit with yourself and accept that part of it. But the only way to do that is to disidentify from it. It is not who you are. It is just what you're experiencing. You're experiencing failure. You're not it. You're experiencing success. You're not success. You are everything that came before that. All right, so thank you guys for joining me. I hope you got something from this. And if you have any questions, leave your comments and concerns below. All right, this is Manny. This is Make Your Failures Your Success, episode 11. Have a great day, great year, great week. Namaste.
I got a few questions. Where do you get your protein from? Isn't it expensive to be vegan? Questions. I got a few questions. Haven't we evolved to eat meat? It's natural. I got a few questions.
Shh. It's vegan.